Hi there everyone, how's it going? This is Matt the Tomato right here, cheers for tuning in, and welcome back to SimCity 4, where the region is one big city. This is going to be, rather remarkably and rather incredibly, the last episode of this series. It has been truly excellent, this build. I have achieved almost exactly what I wanted to achieve, which was to build a... Oh, I was just about to build something in there, but actually it kind of sort of took over, so that's okay. I'm just going to put another couple of plazas in and around there. I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve, and yeah, no, it's been absolutely fantastic. We'll have a full recap relatively soon. Just allowing a few things to develop here. There's actually, yeah, let's put in the stock market. We haven't really built a commercial centre here, but I don't really know where to put this, to be quite honest. Let's put it in there. That'll be okay. Let's put the stock market in there. That will obviously drive up a fair bit of the commercial demand in the area, so we're actually seeing some small improvements in some of the buildings. So obviously there's no big commercial buildings here because I think because the crime is so bad and where we've got the casino in the area, but that's okay. So we have successfully built up most of this here. Seeing, because obviously funding is a little bit of an issue, but we're actually doing okay for sort of treasury money is fine, but the budget is not that brilliant. So, okay, brilliant. Did we need another power plant? Probably not. We were close though. We weren't actually all that far away, so we would have probably needed another power plant relatively soon. So I suppose I could maybe build a small farm in there. Wouldn't be the end of the world. I put a little bit of farmland in that particular territory. Probably won't develop though. Yeah, probably won't develop, but that's alright. Okay, and obviously I had this little pool of water here that I decided to leave alone. I was thinking about maybe doing some epic bridge or something, just for fun, but nah, that's alright. No need. Okay, so this particular city is done, and, well, the region is done. It's amazing. Can't quite believe we've actually finished it, but yes, we have finished it. Wow, truly excellent. 1.1 million, well, 1.2 million people live here, and wow, it actually looks really nice. I'm really happy with the way we've done this. Lots of different terrains, all sorts of different builds here. We've got high wealth, low wealth, medium wealth, industrial parks, all around the outskirts of the major city in the middle here. So technically you could say, like the city centre point shouldn't really be the middle of the map, but in this case I've kind of designed it like that to be the middle of the map because I built everything else around it. So what would this be like in real life? Well, I suppose I've kind of designed it a little bit like perhaps like some of the major cities in Europe, like London or Paris, where you have a major ring road that runs around the outside. And you have sort of various motorways bits that go into the city that ultimately become avenues and then split around until you sort of hit major hubs of public transport and stuff like that. So I guess you could say I've definitely designed it like that, really and truthfully. But there's all sorts going on here. There's different waterways and whatnot. Is it a coastal city? Well, not really. It's sort of inland a little bit. And one would imagine that maybe, because it's sort of, you could look at it like this and go, well, it's on a river source like this. But I imagine if this map was actually real here, the ancient ones and people in history would have probably built this city maybe over in this section over here, because it's on the ocean, it's on the river. This is a better place to build a big city centre. But that's of course how I've designed the map. So. But yeah, overall, so we started all the way over here, if we show the city name. So we started over here, Firston and Secondton over this way with just some farms. That was how it started off. We built our first proper town sort of thing over here, which is obviously a suburb. Well, it's not really a suburb, it's a little town on the outskirts, basically. And we sort of developed from there, worked our way down this way. We had our first few request cities down here, which was obviously much appreciated, definitely. Thank you very much for all the request cities. Developed further over this way, and then of course we then started working our way towards some of the denser areas over this way. And we've got a big retail park going over here, which is on the outskirts of the main city. This was initially supposed to be a river that was coming in from the south here that maybe formed some sort of lake and then ended up joining in with this ocean over here. But we never did that. Instead, it's some sort of odd moaty design. I don't really know how that would. I suppose maybe, the interesting formation. Maybe this used to be a bigger piece of water or something like that, and maybe you could say maybe land reclamation has taken place. I don't know, something like that. And then we got some mountains over here. Now, in previous playthroughs, I've actually built a lot more hills and a lot more mountains. But in this case, I wanted to make it a little bit more realistic in terms of, it's not lots of cities. It is one big city. So that is the way I've played this. And of course, we've got the forest out here. We've got lakes. We've got rivers, islands, all sorts. And I think this has turned out to be an absolutely brilliant playthrough. And I've achieved what I wanted to do. So if we look at the transportation here, would this be an annoying city to travel across? Yeah, I imagine so. But luckily, you don't have to travel across because you can instead use the motorway to go around. And of course, basically what I've tried to do is you've got the big train hubs coming in from various directions. And you can then join into the public transport in and around here. So you can hop off the train and get on the elevated rail, which is what I've done just about all of these 4 hub stations here. Tried to make it so that you can join the elevated rail, and the elevated rail itself actually runs in a bit of a ring road itself. You can theoretically get the elevated rail from one side or the other. So kind of the idea behind that is maybe to showcase that it's where in a major city it would more be like an underground or a tube line or something like that. That is what you would actually see on a map, whereas I've simulated it here as an elevated rail. But, it could be quite fun to create a big city. Imagine if there was a big city that had elevated rail going everywhere. There are cities that exist that do. None come to my head, but there are. So we got 2 major airports. We've got Flyford over here, and we got Fun Nation Airport. I believe that's what I called it. Fun Nation over here. So these are the 2 major airports. If you lived in the city centre and wanted to get to the airports, no problem. You could use the public transport and just hop on the train. And there's train stations around here. So I've tried to make everything really interconnectable so that you don't actually have to use the road to go where you want to go. You can go to just about any corner of the map, with using public transport. Of course, over here, there's not a lot over here. This is very, very rural. Maybe, a public transport connection to Weston might have been a good idea because that's actually quite a big area with a fair amount of people. So obviously that is all road transport. But then you can say, well, they're really, really close to the motorway here. So it's really easy for people to just drive onto the motorway and come around. You can drive around here. You can just drive across this road and join in, and you can hit the airport. Or you can, you can maybe imagine there's some bus services that run along here to the trains. I don't know. You can imagine all sorts. But overall, I'm really, really satisfied with the way this has come out. This transport map is interesting, but this is my favourite view. I love this view. It's just, you see it all come together. It is a region, and it is one big city. In some areas, you can clearly see, so obviously we've got the borders, the boundaries here. In some areas, you can clearly see that there are boundaries, and you can identify them pretty easily. So you can obviously see like gaps here, for instance. You can see there's lines here that it's very blocked. You can see some of the blocky nature, whereas in other areas I've tried to ensure that you can't see the boundaries. So obviously we've got the square over here, sort of the big industry park, but that actually goes over 2 tiles. So normally you think, oh, that's just 1 tile there, but actually it's not. It's 2 tiles. And then there's all the farmland over here, so it's really difficult to actually, pinpoint where some of these borders might be, which is what I wanted to do. That's exactly what I wanted. So, yeah, really good. We've got a couple of outlying places. So Lima is obviously a very high wealth place over here. This was one of the outlying places. You have Physicston down here. Oriana-on-Sea is sort of, you can imagine maybe another town that's obviously outside of the city. It is another town. It could self-sustain itself. Very high wealth over here on the waterfront with the beach. So you can imagine maybe that's a tourist destination. There are trains that run out there, so that would be a tourist destination. Airports and all sorts out here. So no, this has been a very successful playthrough. I have thoroughly enjoyed this playthrough, and what next really is the question. I actually have another project in mind that I would really like to get started with at some point. It's going to be a big project. It's going to be a hard and difficult project. It's going to be more difficult than this, I think. But I'm looking forward to seeing whether I might be able to get that going. But thank you everybody for watching. This has been one of my most followed YouTube series to date. Thank you to everybody who requested cities. There are some good request cities in here. Thoroughly enjoyed seeing some of your requests. I know for a fact that some of them were not quite what people were after. And yet there's others that seem to be extremely happy with their request cities. So thank you ever so much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure to build this city for you. I will leave you with the fabulous screen of the region right here. And, well, join me next time for more playthroughs, more games, and more fun here on the Mac No Tomato channel. Stay safe, stay well, and as always, keep gaming.